Good afternoon, everyone. This is Jared Rand, and welcome to the Global Guided Meditation Call for Saturday, March 9, 2024, a little after 3:15 p.m. Eastern. Your task is not to seek for love, but merely to seek and find all the barriers within yourself that you have built against it. Rumi. The only time surrender is not is in the presence of ego. Love does not resist itself because there is no thing outside it to resist. Just make peace with the mind in every moment, and you will experience total bliss, Angela Walker. Behind every fear, anxiety, and pain, behind every one of those is an attachment hiding. If you're unsure where it is or what exactly you are attached to in this life, just check your body. Many times we don't do that, but the body never lies. Feeling of tension, clenching, or anxiety always appears. And then you talk with that part of your body. Listen to it closely for a few minutes, and eventually you will notice a message inside the tense, tight, or contracted sensation. And people think a message is a voice. No, it's a feeling. It's an energetic communication. The more you understand the reason for these attachments, the easier it is to step back from them and not buy into their story. When we have freedom from attachment, it is a healing process. When we are truly free, it means you'll have tons of extra time, love, energy, to consciously manifest the life your heart really desires. The process to shift out of any attachment is this. First, to identify where it is located in the body. Breathe into the tight sensation. Feel the pain, listen to its story, and let go of its story. And relax into the source beyond it all. And repeat until the tension, story are gone. It helps to remember that happiness does not depend on anything in this outer world. Yet, our level of surrender to our hearts connected to the source within. The more often that we practice this surrender, the less chance you will ever get attached to anything again. It helps to remember that happiness does not depend on anything in the outer world, yet your level of surrender to your heart's connected to the source within. The more often you practice the surrender, the less chance you will ever get attached to anything again. And I believe that many of us actually fear letting go or surrendering. Attachment, surrendering it, letting it go. And so we hold on to it. The more clear we can become about what we are attached to in this life and why, the more enlightened we become. When we can identify the lacking feelings we are holding on to, we stop blaming the world for how we feel, and we reclaim our power again. Seeing what actually is creating our need for attachment is the key to unleashing our freedom. Lots of times we will ignore the body, okay? We will ignore the body. We won't pay attention to it, even when it's doing everything it can to communicate with us. The limiting feelings we regurgitate about ourselves are the secret gateways to forming new paradigms of being and seeing reality. We have the power within ourselves to release our blocks right now. All of us do. And thus attract any desired outcome in this life that we choose. We no longer need to engage in states of unnecessary suffering ever again. Ever, ever. A really good quote from Seth, which is very true and very profound. You are given the gifts of the gods. You create your reality according to your beliefs. Yours is the creative energy that makes your world. There are no limitations to the self except those you believe in. Recognize all of your attachments each day and let them go. Breathe into your body so deeply that there is no more room for the mind to enter. Be free from the mind. Let yourself feel into the still, calm, ever-loving source that is beneath all needy feelings. Whenever you feel stuck, just ask the magic question. What am I attached to? The only reason you're stuck or feel stuck is because you're attached to something. It's that simple. As soon as you see it, let it go by simply making the choice to surrender to trusting in something much greater than you. This very well could be your week to practice saying goodbye to every limiting belief that you are attached to and choose to find real freedom in your life. And reconnect with your soul, the infinite presence in you, and be free from all attachments forever. Misery, we're all familiar with that, does not exist in reality, but only in mere imagination. Sri Ramana Maharishi. You see how that works? Oftentimes you'll see the word unconditional love. Okay? If you took away un, it would be conditional love. Even seeing that frequency in that word. This is why I use deep eternal love. So there is nothing more satisfying to the soul than the deep, profound feeling of deep eternal love when you open up your heart and allow yourself to receive the divine experience. Something very magical happens. All your problems go away instantly, and all you see is how beautiful and amazing your life is. There is an exquisite depth of love that naturally bubbles up from within us when we stop defending and protecting our ego. When the ego is guarded, we are living in scarcity consciousness about love. We feel love is limited, conditional, and that we should live in fear of some bad future experience happening. Then we end up missing out on seeing, feeling, and experiencing how this moment of this life is sacred and divine. When the ego is set aside, your heart can remain emotionally open for a long enough expanse of time, and you tap into one of the most sensitive aspects of human nature. You discover that your heart opens bigger than its normal capacity, and your entire body opens up to having a heart orgasm. And those do exist. It's not a heart attack, okay? It's not, people say, well, is that a form of heart attack? You don't have many of them. Probably in one lifetime you can count them on one hand. Yet each one is like nothing you would ever experience before. And words barely scratch the surface. The body becomes filled with bliss to the point that it literally could not move a muscle. It feels like your heart expanded 3 feet larger, extended outside of your physical form. And the entire room seemed to be filled with tremendous light. You feel more healed, whole, and at peace on every subtle level of your existence. It feels as if something larger than God itself was penetrating your heart, making love to your heart, and it was exploding in orgasmic bliss. A heart orgasm is one of the most amazing experiences any of us can have in this life. Now, what do you do? What do you need to do so that you can have one? First, you'll want to start mentally preparing yourself to receive an orgasmic experience so that it can enter you emotionally and physically. It's similar to getting yourself ready to receive a sexual orgasm in the sense that you relax and open yourself enough to physically allow it to occur. Now, you certainly cannot force a heart orgasm to happen. This would simply limit its expansive effects. Just give your heart permission to experience more love than it can contain. This means you'll need to release any protective shields around your heart, which are keeping your heart experience small, limited. We touch heaven as we lay our hand on a human body. Friedrich Leopold. If you've been hurt in any relationship in your past, could be by your mom, your dad, sibling, lover, friend, there's about a 99.9% chance you have some very protective defensive shields or walls around your heart. You cannot have a heart orgasm. These walls are still up in any way. You will need to take them all down, because having them up, even if you feel you need them to feel safe and guarded, they are still acting like a heavy weight on your chest. May feel quite risky to let down these protective walls, yet it's even riskier to live your entire life behind this emotional prison. In the beginning, It may feel very wrong or scary to let down your shields. You might feel like you are naked and that anyone could hurt you easily. When your heart lives behind a wall, you miss out on the real freedom and joy of this life. It is the person or the being who is afraid of feeling a certain emotion who's tied up and living in a real prison. You ever met anybody like that? It's not difficult to sense it. Fear exists only in the mind. Isn't that interesting? The mind's an illusion. What was at one time in the past a needed shield of protection now has become an emotional prison. This life is filled with paradoxes. The scary feelings you once had will soon change and become the gateway to experiencing more love. That one thing you were once running from suddenly becomes that which you need to run toward if you want to be free. If fear seems to dominate your life in any way, I suggest meditating on this line from the Course of Miracles for several days until you integrate its profound spiritual understanding into your bones. Well, I've said this many times. That which is real cannot be threatened. That which is unreal does not exist. Course of Miracles. It's important to dismantle this automatic, unconscious, guarded fortress of protection if we wish to be truly free. Many of us have been trained by this society to live in fear, guarding our hearts at all times, keeping our shields up in public and even in private. We have gotten used to living with an ego that feels insecure. So we need to pretend we are strong and resist being vulnerable and emotionally exposed. The ego is constantly afraid of losing control, being crushed, or being taken advantage of. It is quite ironic. Yet, when it comes to true empowerment in this life, it actually takes a longer, stronger person to let go of control and feel something they are afraid of feeling. If you wish to have a heart orgasm, you'll need to radically go against the fear-based belief system of society, which promote keeping the walls around your heart untrusting and strong. You'll need to choose to trust letting your guard down and allow for your insecure feelings to arise, as each one is temporary and will soon pass. Quote from Helen Keller, great one. Security is mostly a superstition. Life is either a daring adventure or nothing. You'll know when the heart is no longer guarded because a truly amazing phenomenon occurs. The people you once believed should be avoided at all costs suddenly become your life's greatest opportunity to grow in love, trust, experience a higher state of bliss. You realize that an open heart is the divine gateway to exploring an entirely new world. You'll create vulnerability so that you can have a much juicier, touching, and enriching experience of ordinary life. It's like your typical trip to the grocery store suddenly becomes an adventure in how profound you can let yourself feel your heart's true aliveness. You naturally reach out and let people in to feel you and see the real you. You let them touch you so deeply that your heart becomes overwhelmed with tears of happiness you cannot contain. This transformation all begins by allowing your heart to be more sensitive, open, receptive to seeing the God source is within everything and everyone. This divine level of love is bigger than anything you have ever dreamed of. As the old saying goes, if you cannot see God in all, you cannot see God at all. The being who is choosing to expand beyond their limitations in love, who is constantly in the act of giving and receiving love, is the real master of their heart and their life. That person who is constantly hiding, protecting, and defending themselves from possible pain is trapped, living behind a wall of a great misunderstanding. Who is it that needs protection anyway? This is only your ego, an illusory, limited idea of who you are. That's that childlike curiosity. Be curious about the specific experience that shields around your heart are protecting you from. What would happen if you let yourself dive through this scary experience to see what was on the other side? When you really let down your guard, you'll find that you can be deeply touched by anything. Anything. It doesn't have to be huge. It's a tiny thing. A flower, a small tree, a bird on the branch. Anything can move you emotionally. You ever have that happen? From this place, you'll gain a profound strength that allows you to enter into the experience of true orgasmic bliss. Now, if you're unable to know what walls are around your heart, move closer toward that one being you feel closest to in your life. Perhaps this is your partner, past lover, best friend, parent, sibling, or whoever it is. Notice how you feel when you're closer to them. And if there are deeper walls still protecting you from feeling 100% trust and safety. Have an intimate conversation with them about your desire for a deeper heart connection and to stop having a guarded heart. Notice any fear, anxiety, or tension that arises. What is your heart afraid of experiencing? Then, notice what the opposite experience of this fear would be for you. And start moving into that experience with them. For example, if you're protecting yourself from feeling sadness, then your walls are also blocking you from feeling joy. If you're shielding yourself from confrontation or anger, then you're hiding from feeling empowered and able. Notice what your protection pattern is, when it started, who you are blaming that it came from, and what it will take for you to be 100% free from it. Do not judge yourself or your healing process. For a heart orgasm to take place, you must choose to become super gentle with yourself at this initial stage. There are so many connections that we don't know, that we are just not aware of it. So you can move with an understanding. We always are learning, experiencing. So every night before you fall asleep, communicate with the walls around your heart and acknowledge what a great job they've done at protecting you. Thank them for all the days they have kept you safe from harm. Let your walls know that they have served their purpose and that they can now let go. Feel into these walls. Send them compassion. The level you're willing to feel the prison around your heart is the same level of freedom you'll attain. Depending on your level of avoidance, distraction, and resistance, it may take you hours, days, or months before you feel a significant shift. To practice reminding your walls throughout the day that it's safe to stop protecting your heart. The more you can remember to soften and relax and to trust, the easier it becomes to see that who you truly are is an infinite source of light, a soul, who needs no protection. The more trust you can feel, faster and easier your walls will come falling. Let your defense system know that you are now here to trust 100% in the divine, intelligent, deeply eternal, loving God source, which will provide all the real protection you need for your heart. Let these old shields know how much you desire to be free from their heavy, fearful burden. Communicate with your walls. Tell them that you are ready to allow in the greatest heart orgasmic experience of your life. Let these walls know that you are completely safe from all people in your past, present, and future. Thank them deeply for protecting you and bid them farewell, goodbye. As often as you can throughout your day, place your attention upon the softness of your heart. Imagine that your heart is the most beautiful, soft, sensual flower you've ever seen and felt. Feel it opening its delicate petals to the sun, receiving the golden rays of healing sunshine into your heart, spreading throughout your body. With each inhalation, allow this warm, healing sunshine into your heart and let it spread throughout your body. Practice this all day long, every day of this coming week. Welcome in softness. Release the guarded protection. Your heart is only saying yes to feeling safe and deeply, eternally loved. Practice relaxing your heart completely. Let your body relax into it. The experience of deep, eternal love feels very similar to receiving the eternal light from the sun after a long, cold, dark winter. Notice how the warm golden rays of infinite healing light start to radiate from inside your heart. Feel how the warmth from the sun shines inside you and is never ending. It keeps on flowing, giving you more and more, especially when you cannot accept it. Meditate on this eternal loving feeling as frequently as you can throughout your day. The amount of time in 24 hours that you can spend feeling this soft, safe, trusting love in your heart center is the essential key to breaking through the old, fearful patterns guarding your heart, moving into the higher dimensions of bliss and heart orgasmic ecstasy. As you continue to practice or continue practicing these two levels of understanding every day, be aware of how deeply you are relaxed in your body. Notice any tension your body has that has to do with time, rushing, or not having enough space to do this inner work. Find out where you are being impatient with your unguarding process. Your impatience is also an act of violence against yourself. This will retard any heart orgasmic experiences from occurring. The big secret here is to explore what infinite patience is like. If you are unwilling to wait for an eternity, then you know that the impatient ego has snuck back in and taken over. Be kind, persistent, and super patient with this process of unguarding your heart. It is a deep one. More often we practice unguarding our heart, the more loving and patient we will become with ourselves, and sooner we will start feeling more light and blissful feelings radiate inside our chest. We will start laughing spontaneously, feeling generally happier about life, and smiling most of the time about random things. This is a good sign you are ready to receive your first heart orgasm. After much wall melting practice, eventually the protection around your heart will get in the habit of remaining down 24 hours a day. And when the heart opens enough that tears of gratitude can swell up inside you any time during your day or evening, then you are ripe and ready for your first heart orgasm. It takes a true spiritual warrior to trust in this heart-opening process. Yet the levels of ecstasy that you'll experience are guaranteed to be nothing like anything you've ever experienced before. It's good to know that your heart orgasm can happen at any time, any place, and with anyone. It often manifests when you least expect it. So enjoy your healing journey into the caverns of your soul to reveal the greatest bliss that is awaiting you this coming week. We're always absorbing, and we're always learning, and we're always experiencing. And when I talk about going within, this is part of it. The discoveries that every one of us will experience. How to finally let go. How to understand that these things you're carrying do not serve you. They bind you. They lock you down. And this is the consensus, so to speak, of the civilization, is that it's afraid of love. It's afraid of love for itself and others. Where do you see that? You see a lot of it. Maybe even you. Maybe you know, because only you will know what you're holding back. You could be in a relationship and be locked away. You could have really strong walls all around your heart. Then these people are misinterpreted by saying that they're cold and unresponsive to love. And the interesting thing is that we do have a tendency to believe that it's us, right? There's no blame here. But this is why being gentle, kind, generous, and humble with yourself at all times is very important. And this is all about within. All of these different steps. We either choose to take or not. But it's really developing an intimate relationship with yourself first. Because you won't really with anyone else until you do with you. This is why so many relationships, the relationship is with you to start with. Within. Have you asked yourself, how am I doing with the relationship to myself? Where it starts. It's not going to start out there. It's like putting the cart before the horses. This is the spiritual awakening and evolution for humanity. Discovering, when we say discovering who and what you are, this is part of it. All of the ego-mind instructionals blended with the society, the human psyche, all the programming and conditioning of other people's thoughts. It's the unraveling, the undoing of all of this. Because it's all an illusion created by the ego mind. See, it doesn't know that it isn't separate. It believes that it is separate. Why do you think that sometimes you or others will say, I feel real alone. I'm alone. I feel very alone. Because the ego mind doesn't realize or doesn't know that it is never alone. And keeping good company with oneself is paramount. Absolute paramount. How are you going to keep good company with anyone else if you're unable to keep good company with yourself? Not. People become bored with their lives because of what? Because they don't know about going within. They're bored with their lives because of the material physical world, and they can't seem to figure out, and and they get tired and fatigued because always there's something that you've got to go after, that you've got to get, that you have to experience, and that's the ego mind pushing you. And that's why so many people don't meditate, is because they feel it's boring. And it's the opposite. You go in and you discover what? What do you discover? You start to understand that you are not the body, that you are the God, the soul, the God within the soul, omnipotently, supremely powerful, immortal being that never dies. It's almost as if we're at an intersection in our lives. We're at an intersection. We know what those are, right? You go straight, you can go left, or you can go right. And left, there's a sign that says pass. Right, there's a sign that says future. And straight on means the now. Which one will you choose? Which one will you embrace? And only you know that. Only you know. Because we get enticed, right? Where are we enticed? At that intersection. Where are we enticed? We see future. We see the future. We go down that road, we'll be able to see the future. These all kinds of things come in, right? We're not too excited about the past. We already know that that's all gone. Right? Some of us may gravitate over there because there's some things that we may want to revisit. But the biggest pull is the future. And what happens? Well, you're afraid to go into the future because you don't really care to know what's going to happen. Too much. Only unless you're very, very, very curious. You're looking at the now, and the now seems boring. What's the now? Right now is boring. I want some adventure and action. Well, the unknown is the future, right? So that's like a leap of faith. So, well, I'm going to turn right, and I'm going to go on the path to the future. This is where a lot of the times we get confused, and we get miscombobulated. And then ego mind kicks us to start saying, maybe I shouldn't be going down this road. Maybe I should have waited. Maybe I should have stayed in the now and stayed on that road. We have tremendous opportunity and with our abilities and self-discovery. It's unending. But you can see when you're completely truthful with yourself, you'll be able to know and feel, how far is it? Isn't that the question? How far is it? Well, the now is always. So it isn't a matter of distance. And what about the future? Well, you don't know, do you? And what about the past? What if you do go in the past? Discover things or correct things or what? And then you start worrying, well, if I make any changes here, then I'm gonna change the now. The present moment won't be the same. If I go into the future, that'll affect the past. But you see, this is what we've been taught. It won't. Because it creates a whole new timeline. The timeline that we are all on is tremendous spiritual advancement, development, advancement, comprehension, and knowing. We are in the age of mastering ego, mind, and our thoughts. This is the age that civilization is in. Now, what about those that are disconnected, that are in the dream sleep? They'll probably come into another life and maybe they'll discover it then, or the next life after that. So in the quiet time of this meditation, feel your heart. And then identify for yourself how many walls you have put up around your heart. None of us are exempt from this. We're all in it. Some more than others, some less than others. And when you identify these walls, ask yourself, why am I holding them? And you can see that they're all surrounding your heart, which blocks off love. Love for yourself. Love for others. And what's the solution? Surrender. Let it all go. If it doesn't serve you the greater good, why have it? Why hold it? Thank it. Give it love. And let it go. I'll join you in the meditation. I'll return to close us out.
Take an easy, slow breath in through the nose. Easy and slow breath out from the mouth. Remain still. Ask yourself this question. What are you choosing in this moment? Are you choosing to rest in expansive feelings like joy, peace, and love? Or are you choosing to stay stuck in limiting, restrictive emotions like sadness, victimhood, and anger? Choose wisely, for each choice creates the world you live in. Remember, the choice is always yours. Take this with you for the rest of the day, into the evening and night, the following morning. We'll return here Sunday, March 10, 2024, around 3:15 p.m. Eastern, to continue our global guided meditation call. Be gentle, kind, generous, and humble with yourself at all times. Be in the highest of the highest high, deepest of the deepest deepest, purest of the purest purest. Eternal gratitude at all times, no matter what's going on within or outside of you.